Welcome everyone to the Total-MLS Roundtable. We're back after an extended vacation. We were out on loan, moving into a new house. That was my excuse at least. But we're back now, a different night. Well, no, same night, Mondays. Talking MLS and anything else that we may want to talk about. I'm Dustin Richardson, live in Houston, in my new house. Same scarfall behind me if you're watching. Had to put it back up, one of the first things. We're joined today by Seth, who is probably on cloud 9 after his Revs. I think they just scored again. Seth, how's it going?
Good. I think they're still scoring. I think that the game's still going on. They can't stop.
It's pretty impressive. 10 goals in a week. We'll get to them in a minute. On the other end of the spectrum, Philip, the defending champs, going through a bit of a struggle. How are things?
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough couple months if let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, they'll make it through, but they're off to a rough start. And Tyler,
Yep.
the resurgent DC United, coming back to life. How are things?
Better than last year.
Eddie Johnson scoring.
Eddie Johnson finally opened his account.
All
That's
is right
gonna
in the
be a good
world.
sign.
And he didn't have any pay me
No,
gestures or anything.
rescued a point at least against worst or second worst team in MLS.
Well, you got to start somewhere, right?
Worst, I guess.
All right, so we're going to bounce around a number of topics today. Kind of hit on some things with the league, hit on the new TV deal a little, maybe some expansion if we have time. So let's start with the league. As we were talking about, the Revolution leading the East. They can't stop scoring goals. Seth, what's the feeling like up there? Back to the MLS Cup appearance days, or back to the glory days, I guess?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a good feeling. Don't have the I can hear myself.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can. Is that going?
Anyway, yeah, it's definitely a good feeling. It's definitely a good feeling. It's good things going on. What's interesting talking to Heaps is that he's focused, like he's ready to go, and he's not making a big deal out of this whole thing, and he's pretty composed about how everything's going.
Yeah. Sorry for that lag. It sounds like we're double talking. You guys hearing that?
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully that'll straighten itself out, or this will be a short little appearance for us. Yeah. So New England first place in the East for now. You guys think they're for real, or do they come back to the pack at some point?
I think it's going to depend on how well Mullins continues his run. I mean, if teams start to focus in on him and they're able to limit him, we might see them struggle a little bit more because the team wasn't doing well until Mullins made that spot.
I think they'll continue.
Yeah, I agree. But at the
They'll
same,
continue to go ahead.
yeah,
I think they'll continue to play pretty well, but they're not going to stay at the top of it. They're not going to stay in the last for long, I don't think. I think they'll make the playoffs. Though.
yeah, I agree. They'll make the playoffs, but they're eventually going to fall. Not to where they were in previous years, but they're going to fall. They're going to struggle like every team this year. It's just going to be at a certain time. I do, however, think that Mullins and Teal Bunbury, I want to see their partnership because they're two players that can really gel together and really be dangerous.
Yeah, and Bunbury just wasn't playing the right role for him for a while. That like lone striker wasn't the right place. He's not that type of player. Now he's on the outside. He's able to play defense and get forward. And he actually can hit a decent ball and a decent cross.
Yeah, when I saw him in Kansas City, it wasn't his finishing ability that was the issue. It was actually getting the ball and setting it up. That was the issue. But now you have people around him to set up with. It's not just all him having to take care of it.
Yeah, they've definitely got some attacking weapons. Fagundes, the rookies, Bunbury now if he's back to his national team days. They, Kellen Rowe, Wynn, the list keeps going.
It's not the other guys too, like Kobayashi's doing really well for them, and he's a guy that was an afterthought in Vancouver.
Yeah, he was just kind of whisked away, just kind of put in the scrap heap, and Jay Heaps has kind of turned him around.
Yeah, he showed up at first in preseason as Player X.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, no one was able to do it, but no one told Real Salt Lake, who let it out pretty obviously on Twitter.
Yeah, the world of Twitter can be a little dicey at times, I guess. So if New England is not the team to beat in the East right now, who do you guys think is? Obviously, Houston's got to be up there, right?
That's tough because it was Sporting KC until they lost every single defender that they possibly have. Are they going to go with the flat 2 next week? I don't know what they're going to do unless Colin comes back.
I think Vermes may be back in there.
Player coach. I like it.
Get Peter and Jimmy Conrad out of retirement. Get them back there.
Back. I mean, I guess at this point they kind of have to play with the cards they have, but that's rough.
Yeah, I think their back four is going to have to be. You're going to have to put Sinovic and Myers maybe in the middle, and then Kevin Ellis is back on loan from Oklahoma, and then Julio, their new signing, that's going to have to be the back four at least for the Toronto game.
That's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That should be a fantasy tip. I think you just gave everyone a fantasy tip. Pick up Jermaine Defoe now.
Pick up a lot of Toronto attackers, yeah. I think.
Well, I don't know if that's scarier or having a 17-year-old back as a lone center back is scary.
Yeah, he looked clumsy. I didn't watch the whole game, but he looked clumsy from what I saw.
Yeah, I caught part of the second half.
Yeah, he was in way over his head, but he was dealt an impossible task.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I wasn't going to blame him.
Yeah, he just kind of thrown in there like, hey, good luck. Here's the league MVP and probably the Rookie of the Year to face. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
But I think, and something else I was going to bring up with the Sporting situation kind of highlights it. And it came out today that Houston was trying to get Ben Spees on loan from Columbus. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Mm.
And both Columbus and Houston didn't realize that the deadline was passed, which is kind of funny in itself. But MLS and their roster rules, shouldn't something like the loan be open all year?
I don't know. The loan's kind of an interesting thing. It seems like Houston's the only team that knows how to use it. And then their guy gets injured because Tony Casio looked like he was going to be a decent player until he got injured.
Yeah, they talking to Kinnear the other day, and they were talking about kind of their injury situation. Ricardo Clark, now Davis and Boniek are gone. Their midfield's gone. Casio, the main reason they brought him in was for depth, and now he's gone. So they're kind of like Sporting in their midfield. It's going to be interesting to see who starts Wednesday in DC. You'll probably see Driver, and maybe some other guys. I don't know. It's that time of year where teams are kind of stretched.
Well, Sherrod's doing some starts and doing some decent things.
Yeah, Sherrod, he's one of those kind of typical Kinnear players, which kind of in the Will Bruin, Brian Ching mold of like just big, dopey, for lack of a better term.
Cam Weaver?
Cam Weaver. They just kind of get their body in the box and get on the end of crosses. It's kind of the Dynamo way, which is why so many people hate watching them. They're so boring. And their narrow field at BBVA. But, I mean, Sherrod's another one of those finds. Kinnear's, if you look at the Dynamo draft picks in the last 3-4 years, I mean, they're all guys that are pretty much contributing right now, which a lot of teams can't say. You got Sherrod and Cochran, who have been starting this year, Bruin, Craval, who started a lot just from the last 2-3 years. So they're big on the draft. As you can tell, they don't really sign a lot of people. That AAG money's going elsewhere. All right, so that's kind of the Eastern Conference at a glance. Toronto. Before we get off the East, the great big bad Toronto coming into the season. Is it growing pains with them, or what do you guys think?
Well, they have 4 or 5 games in hand, so that's kind of a little thing too. But it's definitely not the honeymoon I think that everybody expected it to be. They're having struggles right now, but I think they'll easily be able to pull it out.
Yeah, I think they'll do
Go ahead, Seth.
fine. I mean, I think everyone was really concerned about Michael Bradley being gone and Jermaine Defoe. And they did fine, and they put together a decent showing this past weekend. So.
I wonder if they're regretting that Gilberto for Lava swap. Wasn't really a swap, but
he's a decent player, but he can't finish worth anything.
He gets in good spots. I mean, he makes good runs, and he's to go back to an old Dynamo player. He's kind of a Joseph Nguyen, Maduro from back in the day.
Nguyen's still playing, right? Is he with the Riverhounds or the Kickers?
He's with Pittsburgh. Which is kind of funny because that's the Dynamo affiliate. He's down there. All right, so expansion. Let's talk a little bit about expansion. Atlanta looks like, from looking at Twitter, is groundbreaking on their stadium today. From what I've heard, they've got upwards of 10,000 season tickets already, so Atlanta's kind of doing well. Orlando, we've seen what they have. And then there's New York City, who, last I heard, were around maybe 3,000 season tickets, which for a city like New York is kind of disappointing. Of these expansion markets that are coming in, who do you guys think has the best chance to kind of be a Portland, a Seattle, a Sporting, one of those franchises that is a benchmark for others?
Ooh.
I feel like I'm kind of copping out if I say Orlando.
Yeah, they kind of have the built-in, fan base, the team, their cool purple shirts that they're sending to everyone except us.
I got me a phone call about ordering my season tickets the other day.
Uh-oh. Might be
Drive
switching
down
allegiances. Yeah, I think, and I kind of have the same concerns with Miami as New York. It's just, it feels so forced.
Yeah. There's also a lot of there's so many question marks. I mean, at least Atlanta, it seems like they're gonna have the fan base to make it work. But Miami and New York, I mean, Miami failed once. Granted, it was in the first 5 years of MLS, and It's just
And they weren't in
getting his
Miami.
legs, but
Be careful. They'll
yeah.
attack you on Twitter for that.
Yeah. But yeah, there's just so many question marks there. I think New York City is going to be the more visible franchise, at least in terms of how MLS wants to expand worldwide in terms of exposure, but I don't think it's going to have as big of a following in America.
Yeah, I think they have these grand designs of Manchester City coming in and being like this kind of thing that props them up and makes them this worldwide franchise, this super club like the Galaxy are supposed to be.
Yeah.
We'll see. Like I said, I'm still a little skeptical.
I like the way that Orlando's approaching things, like by signing players, releasing the logo, and like creating the hype. Like New York hasn't had that. I mean, they hired Jason Price. Since then, it's been relatively quiet. They're just taking a different approach. So I like the way they it up. I also like Sock Republic. I mean, obviously they're new and they're killing it as far as attendance goes. They're a little whiles away from this team, but that could be a really great franchise in like 3 years, kind of like Orlando is doing now.
Yeah, That's pretty impressive. They've had what 3 games over 20,000 in attendance. That's one
Yeah.
game you could say, oh well, it's just the newness, but they're sustaining it, and it's pretty impressive. Speaking of, one of the Miami Herald writers just tweeted something. Update: Downtown Miami boat slip now top choice for Beckham Stadium. So they've got that going for them. A boat slip. Yeah. Well, that could be scary. So we're at 23 right now. Well, when Miami comes in. 24 is where Garber says we're going. Seth, you mentioned Sacramento. Anybody else you guys think has kind of put themselves out there to be 24? It kind of looks like Minnesota wants in, San Antonio wants in.
I would, if I had to bet, I would say Minnesota because the Wilfs are behind it, the Vikings money, NFL money, just like Atlanta. I think that would be the logical choice. May not be the right choice for a lot of people, but it would certainly be the logical business choice.
So you're going with Qatar? You think Qatar's going to be the next MLS team?
Qatar 2020 or something. I don't know if they get some of that SEP money, SEP Blatter money down for Garber. I mean, it'd be a heck of a road trip. I don't know how the supporters groups would travel over there. Then we may really have to go to the winter schedule.
Well, we have an official airline now, so.
There you go.
Yeah, I think Minnesota's probably a leader. Like you said, they have the NFL money, the big time cash. They're kind of an untapped market as far as just the northern part of the U.S. up there.
And from what I've seen, I haven't watched too many Minnesota games in NASL, but they seem to have a pretty dedicated fan base.
They have a pretty strong fan base. I think they've done it kind of like you were saying, Seth. Orlando, they kind of do things the right way. They rebranded to Men United, Minnesota United. They kind of rebranded, rebuilt themselves, and they've come out. They're pretty successful. Didn't they beat RSL a year or two ago? The Open Cup. I think so. Maybe. Anyway. That's a good segue to the next topic. The Open Cup. I know down here in Houston, the Dynamo never really care about it. They kind of just throw out some reserves, get beat by the Scorpions, and go about their business. Does the Open Cup grab you guys' attention? And what would you like to see from the Open Cups that could help it, grow in some of these markets?
I love the Open Cup. I think it's a great thing. I actually think it's a good idea. I know some people complain about it, that they're playing games during that World Cup break. So hopefully you actually see some first teamers play, because that's kind of been the downfall of it. You get a lot of those guys that are on loan or the bench players. Like, for it to be a real competition, you got to get big names, except for Thierry Henry on turf. But get the big names out there.
Yeah, that would be big. What about the defending Open Cup champs? How do you guys feel about it?
I'm not looking to it for a repeat.
Oh,
But
so
I think they'll do okay.
yeah,
Now
I think
that they got more to focus on in actual MLS play. I think
yeah, that was kind of their one thing to go for last year. They were so bad in the league. Hey, why not try to win the Open Cup? I think the other thing about the Open Cup that kind of drives people away is that it's hard to find. It's not on TV, which is kind of a bummer. You have to stream to watch it. It's usually played in half-empty stadiums because it's in the midweek, and those games never do great with attendance to begin with. And then people hear Open Cup and they just say, "Oh, I'm not really gonna watch that," or "What is that anyway?" So I mean, but I'm with you, Seth. I've loved the Open Cup. It's kind of has that NCAA March Madness type feel when the NASL teams, the USL Pro teams come in and win or advance. I just wish U.S. Soccer would kind of give it a little more run instead of just, oh, here's the Open Cup. Good luck, everyone.
The one thing I like
just
that
wish
the
they
Revs do. You can go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I just wish that U.S. Soccer would act like it actually existed rather than like some sort of throwaway thing.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, the one thing I like that the Revs do is that they play some of these games in smaller stadiums. So like last year, they had like 3,000 in Boston. This year, they could play in Rhode Island. Like, that's kind of cool to get them into smaller stadiums and hopefully drive some fan bases and stuff like that.
Mm.
Yeah, it gives different fans the chance to get out to games that may not, I've been to Foxborough. It's not exactly a short drive from anywhere. All right, so any other comments on the Open Cup before we move on? I think we'll see. Hopefully, we'll see some first teams, like we were saying, with the World Cup break. Some teams treated a little more seriously, and it's the easiest way to the Champions League, isn't it? I mean, you only have to win 4 or 5 games.
Yeah, that's how Sporting did it. If they knew that was the easiest way to go, and
hey, DC's in there.
Really, yeah, really about realistically 5 or 6 teams actually care. So
yeah, that's the thing too. We could sit here right now and say that the teams that will probably win it, just because only a few of them actually put out an effort.
Yeah.
Hey, Thierry Henry won't play on turf. You think he's gonna go to like Brooklyn and play the Brooklyn Italians, some MPSL team?
Yeah, that could be fun though. We have New York against the Cosmos possibly.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a number of good kind of inter-state or rivalry games like that. I'm sure the Cosmos will be out with their inferiority complex to prove that they're the greatest team to ever live. For another day.
I will say I live near Harrisburg, and we got the City Islanders. I would pay top money to see Thierry Henry's reaction to the City Islanders field. Just saying.
Yeah, Thierry didn't sign up for this. He ain't showing up until they make like the semifinals. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
All right, so I kind of talked about TV the news came out last week about the new TV deals. We're back to Fox. Unfortunately, is the reaction I think most people have. MLS Live is kind of in limbo right now. They're saying ESPN3 will have streaming. They're saying different things. What were some of the big takeaways you guys saw from the new deal?
It's good. I mean, making more money and getting I agree with you though that I'm gonna miss NBC Sports because they did a great presentation. Like I loved MLS Insider when it was on TV. Like they kind of a watered down version now on MLS Live that is okay. But you know MLS 36 was cool too, and the whip around show that they did one time, like that was awesome. You just hope that ESPN and Fox try to do similar things, especially Fox, because Fox has the World Cups that are coming up. So hopefully they're going to put together good presentations.
Yeah, I mean, the money that ESPN and Fox have, if they just put out a little bit of effort, they could do a great job with it. It's just as will they, I guess, is the big question.
They got to buy some better commentators.
I was about to go there, too. Gus Johnson and Eric Winalda, the voice of American soccer. I know there's been some articles out, awful announcing. He was on our part of our network. I wrote an article about Gus Johnson. First things first, does soccer need an American voice behind it?
Well, they also have JP, right? Fox has JP, right? I like him.
I think JP kind of bounces around, but he did a lot of Fox Soccer. I know he did like the Champions League games when they had him this year. I just don't get their infatuation with an American voice. Just get someone that's going to call the game, do a good job, let the game breathe, not say stupid crap, like Winalda.
Well, I get the sense that Fox wants to. They want to build the broadcast around a broader audience, and when you do that, you kind of have to pander to like the lowest common denominator. So if a broadcast is not going to be for the soccer fan who knows about the game, it's going to be more for the generalized newcomer.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people have. Yeah, it's someone that people know that is outside from the game.
Yeah, they'll give you great nuggets like Aaron Ramsey's English.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One back to the World Cup.
It's like, and Winalda said at one point, like, if that ball would have been closer to the goal, it would have been in the goal. It's just like,
yeah.
That's one of the things, like with the NBC guys, Arlo White, what's his name now? Strong. They do a great job of just letting the game breathe.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I love about NBC, is that they don't sort of dumb down the game for people. They, even if you are a newcomer, they sort of figure that you'll either figure it out as you go along, or ask somebody, or just get into it rather than everybody goes at somebody's pace and everybody gets PO'd, so to say.
Yeah, I think NBC made that one mistake earlier this year when they sent out that tweet like about the Premier League, like with the really stupid things. I can't even remember what it said. Something like there are 11 players on the field. It wasn't that dumb, but
yeah,
just really dumb. People got pissed off, and I think I don't know if they learned from it, but they realized that there's already an audience, and instead of trying to, like you were saying, bring in the lowest common denominator, they just build on what they have.
Yeah.
I'm reading 8 World Cups, the New York Times writer's book, and he talks really well about how just like soccer's different. Like he came into it, and he just kind of realized that it's not bang sports that hockey or basketball is. Like it's a game of like patience and for him, he said it took a while for him to track the game properly and write a report properly because it's a different way of thinking about sports compared to other American sports.
Yeah, I think that's Peter Vesti's book. I need to read that. Yeah, that's a good point. It's not hockey or football where you have to talk at every second and every throw in stats about this guy and this guy's high school and this guy's girlfriend and just let the game kind of play out. And that's Fox has kind of had that hanging over them for a while. So we'll see if the mean folks on Twitter have gotten to them. We'll see what they do. It'll be interesting to see what they do to build a broadcast team because Martino left. And then they kind of have Gus now, borrowing from the NFL. So,
well, I think as much as people rail on Gus Johnson, and I have too, he has gotten better for one thing. But the other thing too is Fox put him on the big games. They didn't build him up for smaller games and let him build up. They put him in the Champions League final, the FA Cup final, and in commercials they told
Bayern,
people
Manchester United earlier this year.
Yeah. Or like they'll say, if they're promoting the FA Cup, Arsenal versus Hull City, and Gus Johnson's announcing. Like they make Gus Johnson bigger than the game, which is completely worse than anything that Gus Johnson and Eric Ronaldo are going to say on the broadcast, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Gus is learning, like you said. I mean, obviously he's probably never really been around soccer. I know he used to do some Earthquakes games on the radio, which was kind of weird to hear. But the one thing that he is getting better, but the one thing that still kind of irks me is like you can tell that they give him the catchphrases to say. Like he always has pitch, and he always stuff like that. It's like
they're trying to reinforce it to him, like say this,
Yeah, like make sure you call it a pitch. Make sure you call him boots.
Yeah.
Make sure it's like Gus. Just let it just be natural.
It kind of sounds like somebody learning a language, like say somebody learning English as a second language, and doing all the awkward like tense structure that a normal English speaker wouldn't be doing. But you sort of get that's what I kind of see with Gus and soccer lingo,
Yeah, and the one other thing, and we'll get off this subject. If Fox insists an American voice, is behind their coverage, I mean, there already are some good American announcers, like John Strong, like Seth, you said JP, Glenn Davis is here in Houston. He's always been really good.
As long as Eddie Robinson's not next to him.
Let's not go there.
I heard Marco DeVito's never been offsides.
Offsides too. Those of you that follow us on Twitter, it's like I have this goal to get rid of offsides, drop the S. Eddie, I love you, but man, come on, Eddie. Offside. No S. Just you can do it. You should, well. Glenn is great. And they've kind of got different people with them, but Eddie's a good, I guess, kind of mix. I've heard I've heard a couple of the New England games, and they have what's his face?
Paul Mariner.
The old coach, yes.
Yeah.
On the broadcasts.
He's been great because I like Brad well enough, but he's definitely a homer. Paul Mariner will bring him back down. He's pretty honest. And the guy before him was Jeff Cosley, and Jeff Cosley was pretty boring to listen to. So Paul Mariner's really good.
Yeah, there are some really good broadcast teams in MLS. I mean, the local markets have done, I think a really good job putting broadcast teams together.
Does anyone have Harks? Does Harks?
I don't,
DC?
I don't know.
He was. I think he left. I think he's doing coaching now.
Is he?
Doesn't he do like a show
Yeah.
on satellite radio or something too?
Yeah, you're right. With is it with Tony Mayola?
Yeah, the Sirius
Yeah.
XM something. Yeah. Harks is Harks has always been one that kind of riles people up too. But it's that whole thing with getting the ex-players. Like Eddie Robinson, he's always going to be biased, and he always is for the Dynamo because that's kind of what you get when you get ex-players. But
And also, you do kind of want some of that. Like, it doesn't really bother me that much. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's one thing if they're sitting there openly rooting for the team, but the occasional, there's no way it's a penalty, or when the guy tackles a guy in the box or something, you can live with that.
Yeah, I want people who, yeah, they're good. I mean, they obviously like the team they're working for and calling for, but also, like, say, if the other team does have a beautiful goal, you don't react to it like your dog died or something. You celebrate it. It's a great goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them will kind of act like their dog did die, but All right. Any other thoughts on broadcasting before we move on? We've kind of just crushed every announcer in MLS. They'll never be talking to us again. Oh, Brian Dunseth, shout out. I like him too.
Yep, he's good.
He's good.
Drinking with Dunny.
For some reason, I hadn't seen that until like a couple of weeks ago. Whoever's behind that, you guys are pretty dang brilliant. There needs to be more of that. It's great. All right, so we've kind of hit the gamut of the gauntlet. I don't even know what I'm saying. Of different things, kind of throwing everyone under the bus. We're kind of having some audio issues, so we'll kind of try to wrap it up here. The World Cup's coming up. For the U.S., I know we have people in Canada, and they'll make it known that they're following us too, but sorry, you're not in the World Cup, so I'm not talking about you right now. Any guys that you think didn't make the team that should have, or vice versa? Eddie Johnson.
Yeah, Eddie Johnson comes to mind. Honestly, he doesn't surprise me that much, especially with like how he's not much of a team player. So
Yeah, obviously Will Bruin should have been there. Tally Hall, Rob. Justin Mapp. All the Montreal people will come firing off. Justin Mapp's a great player, but honestly, whose place is he taking in that midfield?
I would have liked Agudelo in the 30-man. Maybe not, probably not in Brazil, but 30-man, I think he would have been decent for him.
Yeah, I thought he had a shot at it. The Julian Green thing kind of threw things off because you knew once he committed that he was going to be there, being German and all.
He is awfully German. You're right.
Did you guys see that behind U.S. soccer thing where they talked about the German players, the German influence?
Jermaine Jones didn't even speak English.
I know, that's what I was about to say. They're all Listen, if you can dominate the midfield, you can speak whatever. Kind of speaks to the melting pot of the U.S. in general, and then it's kind of bleeding over into sports. And it comes up here, since I live in Texas and close to Mexico, it comes up a lot. There's so many Mexican American kids down here. In Houston in general. I mean, probably 2/3 of the high school programs here are full of Hispanic kids, Hondurans. We have a big Honduran population. it'll be interesting to see how they start treating those kids. California is the same way. There's so many, kids who either have Mexican parents or Latino parents, and they're born in America. There's going to be a big population of them coming through the ranks soon. It'll be interesting to see how U.S. soccer handles that.
Yeah, I think Klinsmann needs to talk to some of these college football coaches, learn how to recruit and get on the recruiting trail, it looks like.
Yeah, he's got the German part down. Now he's got to get to the other people.
He's got to learn Spanish.
Landon's very versed in Spanish. He can do
Corona.
Yeah, Corona. They've got some Mexican American players, but yeah, I think there's going to be a huge spike in those kids coming through the college ranks and then up into MLS soon. So just with the population boom that's taking place really all over the U.S., but especially here in the South. All right, guys. I think we kind of hit on a number of topics. It's probably some crappy audio. I'll go back and listen to it. We may not even be sharing this to the public. We had a cool conversation with ourselves. Any last thoughts before we go, Seth?
I'm glad I was able to say everything twice before it really sunk in.
It really makes you sound smarter. When you can, reiterate your point. Philip, Tyler, anything to say? Any last words?
Just
You'll make it through.
hope the Sporting doesn't
Beasler and
lose by
Zusi
too
will
many
be
goals.
back.
Yes. What is it? 50 or so days until the World Cup ends. Yeah. So I'm counting down those days.
You guys will make it. I'm sure you'll be there in the end. Tyler, you got anything? Famous last words?
I just want to go ahead and apologize to you and Seth for what's about to happen. This week.
We're gonna go up there. We're gonna go up there Wednesday with our makeshift midfield. I may have to show up. I did win MVP of the Dynamo Media game. We need to get this on tape before we leave. MVP.
Jeez, that's all out.
That's a nice trophy.
So
Legit.
Dom, if you're listening, you need some midfield assistance. I'll be there. I'll come to DC. We'll get it done. But yeah, that should be an interesting one on Wednesday. So I'll accept your apology already. And I don't know if you guys want any of that buzzsaw in New England, but we shall see. Seth, call off the dogs.
They will not score 5 goals this game.
Oh, it's coming. There you go. Bold prediction of the week. They will hold New England to under 5.
Under 3.
Oh, there you go.
Rift taker.
Yeah.
They will not score.
Now that's a bold prediction. All right, guys. Well, for Seth, Tyler, Philip, thanks for coming on. I'm Dustin. We'll talk to you guys soon. See you next week.